What's up, Weekend Warriors? Yes, we have made it to the playoffs. This is my tribute to the Vikings season. That's about all I'm going to say about them because I think they stink. So it's funny, the Eagles, the Vikings, I think there's some other teams fighting for a playoff spot. We'll see what happens. But I'm here for fantasy football. That's what I'm here to talk about. And it's a cap on the regular season. So we're going to say, nah, 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 nah. Hey, 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 goodbye to 6 teams. And those 6 teams are from top to bottom here, from least sucking to most sucking. Kev lost to Ott, knocked out of the playoffs. Goodbye, Kevin. Brett won last week in a valiant effort. Actually, he did lose last week. He scored like 65 points. Goodbye to Brett. Dean has been gone for quite some weeks. He comes in 7th. 8th is Balone. He fought after starting very poorly and made up to 6 and 9. Strong finish to the season. And then 2 teams at 3 and 12. Chris edges Pearson barely by having, actually barely, but about 150 more points. So Pearson takes the last place crown. Last person that came in last place in this league quit. I don't think Pearson will do that. Prior to this last place finish, he had 2 consecutive finals appearances, which led to 1 championship during that 2-year span. So he was due for a clunker. He had a clunker, and we'll see him next year. So his team name is up for grabs, and he will be delivering a trophy to somebody. So maybe he'll be walking down to the Carolinas. Maybe he'll be walking next door to one of us. We will see. But congratulations to the 4 teams that made it. I have a little sheet here with some notes. We're going to talk about how each one of these teams got to where they are. And just a little bit of history in the Weekend Warriors. When we converted from Yahoo to ESPN, I saved a spreadsheet. This league goes back to 2006. And obviously now it's 2021. So it's a 15-year span there that we've had this league going. Very proud of that. And the first champion in this league ever was one of these teams in the finals. So you could probably guess by conjecture who that is, but I'm going to save that for a little later. Let's get into it. The first team coming in the 4th spot here is Otley. Otley, the only person that has won this league 3 times. Fun fact, and he gets some rap for this. I mean, it just is what it is. The last time he won the league, he auto-drafted, and it was 9 years ago in 2012. That was also his last finals appearance, so it's almost been 10 years. And, of course, the auto-draft master that year beat myself in the finals. So Otley made the playoffs last year, knocked out in the first round, did not make the playoffs the year before that, so he's glad. He's back in the playoffs for a 2nd straight year, snuck in this year, and he's ready to roll here against Terry in the first round. The 3rd seed, my brother Jake, he has never been a champion in this league. As some of you may know, anybody with the last name Harding has not won this league. His last finals appearance was a 2018 loss to Brett, so pretty recently. He missed the playoffs he made the playoffs in 2019, our first year in ESPN. He did not make it last year. 1-year hiatus. He's back in the playoffs, and he's facing me. So one of us will represent the Hardings in the finals, and we'll see how that goes against Otley or Terry. And Otley texted me and said, the same thing. Hey, just so you know, you got 5 championships on one side. A little foreshadowing for how many Terry has won. 5 championships, Otley versus Terry versus 0 between you and your brother. One of them looking to repeat, one of us looking to win for the first time. That segues to myself, who is seeking my 4th finals appearance. I've lost in the finals 3 times. My last appearance was 2016 and a loss to Pearson. I have not made the playoffs since we have made the transition to ESPN. The first year I was in a battle and just missed it. Last year I had a pretty bad team. I was like 5-9, I believe. So excited to be back into the playoffs. Had a pretty good season. My season, I made some right calls on some guys, which is tough between, Derrick Henry and Chris Godwin, and they both are out now. I made a good call on Cooper Kupp, made a good call on Tom Brady. Just gotta hope some of these guys can that have carried me all season long can come up big here in the finals, or in the first round of the playoffs, and hopefully the finals. But 1 week at a time, me versus Jake. So moving on to just the favorite here in the entire league, Terry. Great season. Jonathan Taylor has carried him, and he is a two-time champion. Fun fact about Terry: his last championship win was 2007. He won the first year of the league in existence was 2006. He then repeated and won in 2007. So he's a two-time champ. He has not made the finals since 2007. Now, Terry is always in the thick of it. This is not a jab at him. He is always near or around the playoffs. He had another finals appearance that he lost in during the Yahoo days. It's his first playoffs appearance since joining ESPN. So I think he was kind of due for a season like this. And just a little fun fact, I paid out the high scores of the week yesterday. If you got some money, you won the high score of the week. If you didn't, obviously better luck next year. Terry won 6 of them out of 15 weeks, and he has already recouped his league dues of $150 so far. So exciting matchups here. You know, just to recap a little bit more, last week the biggest matchup was Otley and Kevin. I'm going to, not forget about Kevin. A lot of people thought Kev was going to beat Ott. I thought Kev was going to beat Ott. I went 1-4 in my predictions last week. 1-1 in my NFL picks. 1-4 in my fantasy predictions, which is uncharacteristic of how my season has gone. So, but Otley, that trade, Travis Kelce came through. He was bad for Ott. Ott was kind of crying about him, and then he went for 191 and 2, and the rest of the league really didn't do a whole lot. So that was enough to win and knock Kev out of the playoffs. But just to recap, I was 43-32 for my picks during the regular season. I will give picks the next 2 weeks, but it's only 3 total, so I will finish with an above 500 record. I'm 15-15 with my NFL picks. I will be giving those picks out today as well. So I'll jump into that first. Thursday night last week was the first week I'd lost in 7 weeks. I was on fire. The Thursday Night King, the Content King, had been giving winners. Tonight, I'm keeping it simple. The spread says take the Niners. They're on the road and they're a 3-point favorite. A lot of people would think, man, the Titans at home as dogs, home dog, take them. I think a lot of people are going to have that mentality. I haven't seen where the money is, but I'm taking the Niners because I think that's the line to take. -3, book it for my Thursday Night Football pick. Moving into the matchups, this is tough, and COVID has played a very big part in this. Tyreek Hill has COVID right now for Terry, kind of balanced out with Travis Kelce having COVID for Ott. They put these new COVID protocols in place where you only get tested if you have symptoms, and I thought that was going to solve some things, but apparently people are still going on the COVID list. So it's going to be interesting. You got to stay fluid. We'll do our best to help you, replace players, but obviously you can't replace Tyreek Hill. I mean, if he's out, it's a big loss for Terry, and it could play even the playing field here a little bit for, Terry, who 12-3, most points on the year, definitely the odds-on favorite to win it all, could be hindered. Or he could, if there's a big outbreak or issue for his opponent, it could even further secure his spot. So it's going to play a role. There's no doubt about it. But let's jump into the matchup, and it is a good one. Terry versus Ott. We just talked about the historic nature of this matchup, and the one thing I like about this matchup is the predictions are so close right now, 55-45, and Jonathan Taylor, like we said, Terry's rode him all year. Now last week he had a kind of a slow start, and then he had a 70-yard touchdown with like less than 2 minutes left. He's done that like 2 or 3 times this season. Patterson had a bad week last week. He's at home against Detroit. Kevin, previously on this show about 3 weeks ago, said that the week to play Terry is week 16 because Josh Allen is at New England. That may be true, but the Bills are fighting for their life. And if Terry didn't need more firepower, Mark Andrews has been playing like the tight end one. He is the tight end one on the season in points. Tyler Huntley loves him. He may be starting this week. Whoever it is, he's a top 3 tight end. If I'm at quarterback, he's a top 3 tight end. CeeDee Lamb's been a little bit of a disappointment because Dak's been a little bit of a disappointment. Deontay Johnson, Mr. Consistent, the wide receiver 9 on the year, had a down week last week. He should bounce back this week. So it'll be interesting, like I said, about Hill. Right now, I'm assuming both those guys are going to play. They have time to clear the protocol. Rodgers for Otley has been nothing short of phenomenal over the last 3 weeks. His point totals, 24, 33, 27. I should say 4 weeks. He had 36 the week prior to that. He should continue to roll. He plays Saturday night. I'm not worried about the toe. Dalvin Cook and what I think and / hope is going to be a shootout against the Rams. Should have a good game. Thielen's going to be back. He almost played last week, so that'll be interesting. Having Gronk as a tight end too, and obviously it appears that Ott's going to play both of them, but having him to fill in for Kelsey and then put in another flex spot is huge for Ott in this matchup with the COVID concerns. This game's going to be tough. Otley can certainly win. I'd be a fool to not take Terry in this matchup. I think he's destined to make the finals, and it's going to be a very big upset if me or my brother were to beat him next week, especially with some of the injury / COVID concerns him and I have. So, we're rooting for you. No offense, Terry, because I think we all would rather play Otley. I think it's fair to say his team is not as good based on the season's performance. That can change in an instant, and we will see what happens. But I'm taking Chernobyl Meltdown to not melt down this year and to make it to his first finals appearance since 2007. Flipping the coin, me and my brother, this matchup's kind of been foreshadowed for the past 4 or 5 weeks. The way the standings were, it just kind of looked like we were going to play each other. It was obviously possible that we wouldn't based on Brett or Kevin or getting in and scoring some additional points. But here we are. And obviously I mentioned it. People have said I've had a lucky fantasy year. I think I would agree with that with some of my players. But, if I had Derrick Henry and Chris Godwin right now in this situation with some of my other guys, not only does Godwin hurt me not being able to play him, Brady might not have him and might not have Evans, doesn't have Fournette. Obviously, Jake has Fournette, so that hurts him too. It's just a whole lot of mess going on with injuries. So scratching and clawing to keep my lineup together. Some of my handcuffs I've been hanging on to all season have come to fruition. Jeff Wilson Jr., he's playable, if nothing else. Ronald Jones is going to be the starter in Tampa Bay, whatever that means. So I have him as well. And A.J. Dillon's been pretty good for me. I picked up Justin Jackson. Maybe Eckler's on the COVID list. Who knows? He could go on the COVID list tomorrow, so you never know. But Thursday night scares me. I have 3 Niners in a game where the Titans' defense is pretty good. I know I picked the Niners to win, but the Titans' defense is pretty good. I have Kittle, who you have to play. Ayuk, who I have to play because I lost Godwin. I have nobody else. And I have Jeff Wilson Jr., who I'm going to have to play because I don't have anybody else. So we'll see what happens. Plain and simple for me, if Kupp keeps doing what he's doing, he's a cheat code. If Brady can bounce back, which I will not doubt the GOAT, I'm sticking with him. You have to. I can win this matchup. It's going to be close. It is literally 50-50 on ESPN right now. Flip the script to my brother. Carlos Hyde being out and Urban Meyer being out puts James Robinson as a top 10 running back. He's in his lineup against the Jets. That is very scary. Gibson's banged up. He's been solid for Jake since the trade. It's going to be interesting, Kittle versus Gibson this week to see. I'm comfortable, even if Gibson goes off. I'm comfortable with what Kittle has done for me to this point. It was worth the shot. Diggs, tough matchup at New England. He has not been himself as far as what he did last year. He's still a wide receiver 8, and he's still Josh Allen's go-to target. Devontae Adams Saturday night against the Browns is very, very scary. He's the wide receiver 4 on the year, so Jake still sporting a great crew of wide receivers. Cooks on the COVID list currently, but he's got Michael Pittman, who is a solid fill-in. He's still tinkering at flex. He's got Melvin Gordon in right now. And Lamar is going to be the biggest question mark. Will he play? He picked up Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley was the only quarterback in Ravens history to run for 2 touchdowns and pass for 2 touchdowns in a single game. It's not a dig at Lamar. It's just a fact. So they might be interchangeable. 50-50, I'm taking myself. I do think the winner of this matchup is scratching and clawing, and it would really take a lot next week to take down Terry, who I do think is going to win. Jake, I do wish you luck. One of us is going to represent the Hardings in the finals. I hope it's myself. Was starting to think it might have been destined for me, but this last couple weeks has been injury-ridden and a little bit of a challenge. But my pick, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm taking the Bucks -10. I think they bounce back. Carolina is horrible. I bet against Carolina last week. I had the Bills. Take the Bucks on the road, 10-point favorites. Guys, it's been a really fun season. I wish you guys luck. And hopefully, if I lose, I'm still doing the show next week. The Content King's not going away. But hopefully I'm on here with a smile next week. Good luck, boys. Peace out.